A brutal loss for the Giants as they fall 22-7 to the Washington football team, but it's an even worse end to the season, finishing with a 4-13 record. This game featured little to no offense, but at first it did not look that way, with both teams having solid drives to open the game. Washington was able to come away with the field goal in their first possession. Meanwhile, the Giants picked up a few first downs and got into the football team's territory, but were stopped on 4th and 1. After that, it turned into a punt-a-thon, both teams going back and forth with 3 and outs. However, a very unusual play occurrence happened when the Giants had the ball on their own 4-yard line on 3rd and 9. Here the Giants called a QB sneak, if you can believe it, and they were stopped for no game. The shocking decision essentially waved the white flag instead of attempting to convert for a first down. Joe Judge tried to explain the decision after the game.
We were backed up. I wanted to get room. We were going to push it on forward. I wasn't going to live through what happened last week in Chicago, so we're going to give ourselves room for the punt. We did that. We gave ourselves room for the punt. We protected it. We covered well. We played the field position situation I want to play. We held them on the next drive, and that's the way we want to go ahead and play that. Now, do we want to do that all the time when we're backed up? No, but that was a situation of the day with where we were, and I want to make sure that, the things that we had issues with last week in Chicago, that was not going to repeat itself.
After this, in the final 2 minutes of the half, Taylor Heineke put together a nice drive for Washington, which included a 40-yard pass to Terry McLaurin, bringing his team within field goal range to put the football team up 6-0 going into halftime. Now, it was a slow start to the second half, but action finally struck in the final minutes of the third quarter, when on their own 20, Jake Fromm tried to find Evan Ingram on an option route, but was intercepted by Bobby McCain, who then jogged 20 yards easily into the end zone for the first touchdown of the game. And after an unsuccessful 2-point conversion attempt, the football team were up 12-0 over the Giants. But New York wasn't all done yet, and a moment of hope came in the start of the fourth quarter when Fromm found Slane for a 22-yard touchdown, cutting the deficit to just 1 possession. But it wasn't enough, as Washington went back on offense and the running game overwhelmed New York. Led by Antonio Gibson, who finished with 146 yards on the day, he helped his team drive down the field and get in the end zone thanks to an 18-yard rushing touchdown. And if things couldn't get worse for the Giants, more chaos ensued. Midway through the fourth quarter, Fromm stepped back to pass and simply lost control of the football when trying to throw. Washington recovered the fumble and was in great field position, allowing them to kick a field goal and extend their lead to 15. That was all the scoring in this one. Giants had no offense to put up with the Washington running attack. And that was the story in this one. The Giants just 177 yards from scrimmage. Saquon Barkley only 30 yards on the ground. Jake Fromm completing just 15 of his 31 passes. He also had 3 turnovers. After the game, head coach for the Giants, Joe Judge, had this to say on the team's performance.
Ultimately, it's not good enough. The fans deserve better. It doesn't meet our expectations as a program. It's not going to be acceptable, and the things we have to correct, we're going to start on immediately going forward in the future and the start of the next season.
A lot to take away from this Giants season now that it's in the rearview mirror. You could spend a whole hour talking about what they need to do to get better, but there are going to be a couple conversations that are going to overpower this offseason. Firstly, it's going to surround Daniel Jones. Will he be the quarterback of the future? They have the 5th and 7th first-round picks in the upcoming draft. Do they go get a quarterback? That will be something they're going to look at. Secondly, it's going to come to the general manager and the head coach. Are you going to get rid of Dave Gettleman at GM? That's most likely going to happen. Are you going to get rid of head coach Joe Judge? That's something that we are not sure of as of now. And while many people are calling for Joe Judge to be fired, there are players that are backing coach, including Lorenzo Carter, linebacker for the Giants. He sees hope in this Giants team. He had this to say in the post-game press conference.
Yeah, I've been a part of teams that haven't fought as hard as we do, haven't practiced as hard as we do every day. We practice hard. We fight for each other. And Judge squeezes it out of us every day. It's not acceptable for us to come in and hang our heads. We come in every day, every week, no matter what, and we work hard, and I appreciate that. That's what it takes to win. And I know the results haven't been there, but I think we got the right guys in the locker room. We got the right mindset.
Although the season may be over, there's still a lot to come with the New York Giants this offseason. But once again, the final from Week 18 at Metlife Stadium, Washington 22, New York 7. With WFUV Sports, I'm Michael Calamari.